We're talking to Doug Vermeeren. You are the author of Guerrilla Millionaire. And I guess the easiest question and perhaps the hardest to answer, it's always the simple stuff, that I want to start out with is, you talk a lot about living within your financial means, but what does it mean to live within your financial means? What does that mean?
Sure. Well, you know, it's interesting because a lot of people focus on being a money manager and balancing their checkbook, but what they really need to do is focus on being a money strategist.
Okay.
And the strategist really means looking forward, not just dealing with what is. A lot of times people are sort of in a reactive mode when it comes to dealing with their money rather than the planning mode.
Right.
So if they can sort of plan ahead and start looking at what's coming rather than responding, they can oftentimes be better prepared.
Do we need a financial advisor, or are we all like secretly our own financial advisors?
You know what's a really dangerous thing to talk about financial advisors, and of course I know I'm going to hurt some feelings and stir up some controversy here, but statistics actually demonstrate that 80% of the financial advisors that are in the marketplace today are making less money than the people they advise. So I think, yeah, it's and scary.
So technically, you know more than your financial advisor.
Well, and you've got more money to invest.
Please
than
be
they
more
do.
controversial.
Exactly. But I think the truth is you can never learn enough on your own. What you earn will be a reflection of what you learn. So you should always be on the lookout for what you can learn, and there's many sources like that.
So give us some tips about living within our means.
Well, I think the first thing that we really need to look at is if you look at the paycheck to paycheck people versus self-made millionaires, the way that they spend their money is entirely different. In fact,
millionaires are cheap.
They are.
They are.
But they do spend their money in different places. If you look at paycheck to paycheck, typically 97% of the money they spend goes to things that do not appreciate or do not return value. You know.
This is for average people.
This is average people, the paycheck to paycheck people.
So what you're saying is when we make a purchase, any old purchase, we should evaluate it and make sure that not only do we need it, but it's going to be worth something when we're done with it?
Well, not only that, but every purchase you make is an investment. You're trading your money for what you value.
I value coffee in the morning. Is it worth it to go to Starbucks?
That's a quality of life type purchase, right? And so that's good. You deserve that. But the difference is that
most financial advisors are going to tell me, no, don't go to Starbucks.
Just like that book that if you save up all the lattes, you can eventually become a millionaire. Well, okay, sure. There's some truth to these kind of principles.
Okay.
But the challenge is that self-made millionaires, what they do differently is they take a percentage of their income and they actually put it into investments or assets that appreciate and return value.
But is it because they have that extra disposable income?
I don't think so. If you look at this, actually, there's a lot of athletes, celebrities that make millions and tons of money. And they're dead broke, right?
Yeah.
But then you've got people like Warren Buffett, who started with his first job making $12,000 a year, still lives in the same house that he paid $35,000 for, and he was the world's richest man at one point. So it's not how much money you make, it's how you spend it. So anybody can change their game plan immediately by just doing a few things differently.
So it's almost like, I hate to say it, but it's almost like many millionaires are kind of just smarter.
Well, I don't know. I guess the thing is that it's maybe not smarts because we all really kind of have...
Does that mean I'm stupid?
No. But if you think about it, we all have common sense. We all sort of know what we should do. I think it's really a matter of self-control.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of really getting focused with what you really, really want. And the problem is most people don't know why they want it, so they never do it.
Okay, so when should we splurge? When and how often should we do something completely irresponsible and not within our means?
Well, I will be honest with you. I'm not one of these people that says, you know, shrink the budget, shrink the budget. I really believe that a person needs to go out there and experience life to the fullest. I think that you really need to do that.
This sounds contradictory to me.
Well, it might. But the challenge is, I think, is to knowing what that balance is. Like if you're putting money aside and you're getting your money to work for you, you'll find that it will be a very short time later that you'll have extra money because that money will start working instead of you. Not just for you, but instead of you. Right. And so you've now got multiple streams of passive income. And that passive income is what really makes all the difference.
Are there certain guidelines that most people should look at in terms of this percent goes to this percent goes to that, or is it different for everybody?
Well, you know, I've seen a lot of different educators teach that, you know, 10% goes to your, you know, financial abundance in the future, 10% should go to education and then giving and these kind of things. I do think it's different for everyone. Right. But I do think that you need to find a system that works so that, here's the problem, is that most people look at the idea of, you know, when the paycheck's gone, it's gone, and they don't think past that. And the truth is there's no such thing as disposable income. Disposable means throw it in the garbage, right?
Yeah, that's
but most of us kind of think that way. You know, if I've got a few bucks left in the account, well, I can play with that. The truth is again, we come back to that idea, you don't want to be a money manager, you want to be a money strategist. Right. So if you've got, you know, $100, $200 left in the account, rather than run off quickly to buy, you know, new pair of shoes or go to the movie or whatever you want to do, look at what else you could do that might provide for additional income back. And then still, with what you've got left over, go have the fun time.
Yeah, you know, I actually, personally, I don't budget. my finances are fine, but I feel like budgeting stresses me out.
Sometimes it can.
Because I don't want to know that I spent this much money on that and didn't spend this much money on this. I kind of just hope in the end it all works out.
Sure,
by
sure.
making some overall smart investments.
Well, here's one thought for you. Generally, the way people that spend their money, it's divided into 3 categories. 1, to increase their quality of life, alleviate stress, this kind of thing, necessities.
Money makes you happy in many ways.
True
they
enough.
say that.
Absolutely. The second category.
And it makes life easier.
Absolutely, you're right, 100%. But the second category is to create. And oftentimes, if we have ideas or businesses or other things, then we create. And the last is to contribute, to give back to our community and so forth. Well, the category that actually provides the most income back is to create. When we actually are, building on our ideas or going out there and building on our businesses or even educating ourselves to create a better us, we're investing in ourselves.
And it sounds like you're talking about small businessmen to me.
I think not only small business, but all kinds of business
story.
people, and even if you're employed for a company, you still are creating who you are. You are technically a self-employed person because if that company doesn't want you anymore because you're not valuable, they'll let you go.
Yeah, you are a public speaker, and now I see why. You're very compelling.
Thank you.
How do you... What's the most common question you get asked?
You know what? Probably the most common question that I have is, where do I find a good investment? And that's really 2 questions if you think about it, because the where is the geography. Where do I go to find these opportunities? But the other part of the question is really, what are good investments? And most people don't know. They all say, if the right opportunity came along, I'd get involved, but they really don't know what that looks like.
Yeah. It's not necessarily a stock, a bond, or an ETF. It could also be an idea.
It definitely could. In fact, it really depends on the individual. I know a lot of people who've taken an idea and haven't even, played in any kind of the traditional investments, and they've really made a lot for themselves because they believe in themselves.
Doug Vermeeren, thank you so much for coming on. Very insightful. I'll have to do some thinking now into my own